Civil War buffs reminds me of a cross-country race. So you all string out. Same way, so you always wait for folks. He had his personal best, by the way. He did 3 miles in 20 minutes, so he was flying. For him, he was flying. He was pleased. Okay, so let me orient you straight ahead of us. You guys see where the white car just went? That's the Charlestown Road. And down to the left of that is the Martinsburg Pike. It's that intersection that now is the key to the battlefield. Who controls that intersection? The Confederates are going to put guns down in there, artillery pieces. The bridge is real small. They're going to get 1 cannon on the bridge. So they bring the rest of the artillery in, and they're going to be back over here about where the power lines are, and off to the left and off to the right. They're going to bring in more artillery. Milroy down here brings in more troops. So if you look at your maps that I gave, Terry passed out, just to give you an idea of where you're at. You see where the 18th Connecticut is. This is actually the second attack is on the map. Milroy is going to try a big attack. Rather than a piecemeal attack, he's going to try one big assault. So he lines up, as you can see there, 18th Connecticut. Lines up the 87th Ohio, 123rd Ohio. And they're going to try one more time. The 5th Maryland doesn't want to charge again. The men of the 5th Maryland are like, we've had enough. And the Lieutenant Colonel, Monroe Nichols, turns the men around at the Martinsburg Pike, and the 5th Maryland starts marching away. To which one of the sharp commanders here, a guy named John Shaw, I got his picture. John Shaw, York, Pennsylvania, 87th Pennsylvania Infantry. John Shaw decides this is uncoordinated, this is a wreck, train wreck happening. John Shaw jumps off on his horse, goes galloping after the 5th Maryland, finds Lieutenant Colonel Nichols and says, where in the heck are you going? I need you here. Follow me, boys! And the 5th Maryland turns around, and they're going to join belatedly the attack that's coming here. 12th West Virginia, 116th Ohio are being held in reserve at this point in time. By now it's probably 4 o'clock in the morning or so, still dark. But waves of Union soldiers are now coming across this field. The 18th Connecticut, this is going to be hard to see. The 18th Connecticut's chaplain, William Walker, later writes a book about what happens here. It includes the only known drawing ever done that I can find of the McCann property during Second Winchester. It shows the field that we're in right now with the line of Confederates in the trees blazing away. And I'll pass this around to you guys in a minute. Well, what's amazing about this picture, this is 1863. What year are we in today? 2021. This field is still a field. Those woods along the railroad tracks are still woods. Carter's Woods back here are still woods. I will submit to you, where's Terry? Back here. I will submit to you, Terry, that Shenandoah Battlefeild Foundation has bought one of the most pristine Civil War battlefields you can ever imagine. This is what, we're not doing massive amounts of tree clearing, unlike Gettysburg. This is it. Woods, field, woods, railroad tracks. This is the battlefield. All the way down. Now, that section probably needs some clearing sometime. But for now, we're in pretty good shape. This attack is another disaster. They get up in here, and they start losing more men. And again, confused orders. Because where's Bob Milroy in all this? He's in the Martinsburg Pike. Now he's the commander of the division, but I'll suggest to you many division commanders led from closer to their troops than Bob Milroy did on this night. He's way back on the highway. He finally decides to ride up a little bit, just in time for this attack to fail. And these men come shooting back. And at one point, as they're coming back in. Chaplain Walker in 18th Connecticut. The Union forces could see nothing as they charged into the woods behind us and up the crossroad, Charlestown Road. Hits the rebels had every advantage, and we're not slow to improve it. Because all along the railroad tracks they piled fence rails and backpacks and knapsacks and boxes and anything they can. This is a virtual fortress. That's a 6-foot deep railroad embankment lined with fence rails. You think the Yankees can shoot anybody down there in the dark? Not really. So the Confederates have another huge advantage, and they keep shooting men back. Now, somewhere along in here, the 18th Connecticut men will be stunned because they're going to see Milroy now suddenly frantically telling them, one more try, boys, let's try it again. So Milroy decides, I'm going to try a grand attack. I think the Confederate flank is right out here somewhere. So here's what I'm going to do. Milroy decides they're going to take 2 Ohio regiments north of the Charlestown Road. I'm going to, in the middle, I'm going to try all these guys again. And by now their brigade commander, William Ely, has finally arrived on the scene. And Ely is going to take personal charge of this part of the battlefield. He's never commanded a brigade in his life until just a month before this, or 2 months before this. William Ely is a good soldier. He's not capable of leading a brigade in the darkness. Never did it in the daylight under combat. Ely starts leading the men forward in a third charge. The third charge through here's the most chaotic one of the bunch, because by now all cohesion is broken down. These guys are just simply gangs of men with guns moving forward in the darkness, desperately trying to figure out who's left, who's to your right, who's here. And a third attack in the darkness is going to fail. Slipping down to our left, down McCann Road, comes 2 more Union infantry regiments, the 67th Pennsylvania and the 6th Maryland. Late arrivals. They finally get here, fronted by the 13th Pennsylvania Cavalry. Remember the cow patty joke? The 13th Pennsylvania Cavalry is called the Irish Dragoons. They're Irishmen. They're on their way here, but that's way down there. And the left is over here. So these guys are not going to come into this field. The 5th and 6th Maryland and the 67th Pennsylvania are going to keep marching down that road. We'll talk about them in a few minutes. Let's go this way.